What's going on YouTube? Bryce Crispy94 here, bringing you another miniature painting video. And this time we do have a Headless Centaur from Loot Studios. Now, if you are unfamiliar with this as a D&D monster, it's because I think it is a custom from Loot Studios, but it came with a stat block. But some fuzz on my finger now. You could also use a Dullahan stat block from Van Richten's Guide to Monsters if you wanted to do it that way, or create your own. But sometimes I do like to do the Loot Studio homebrew monsters. That's the word I'm looking for. But this was the community voted miniature for September. We had 3 spooky creatures for Spooktober. Strahd, the main villain in Curse of Strahd. A cursed paladin, which is a paladin werewolf, and then the Headless Centaur. And the Headless Centaur ended up taking the dub there. So it's a model I've had printed for a while. Here's its base. We're definitely going to start with the base. Actually, we're going to start with both. We're going to do a little bit of dry brushing to begin with, just to get some colors highlighted, but the base will be complete. We will glue him down and then we'll go from there. So it's enough chit chat out of me. Let's get to painting. All right, to start things off this painting, we're going to grab our white. We're going to squirt a little bit in our dry palette, and we're going to do a nice dry brush of the entire model and base. Now, this is mostly for the base, so if you don't want to do the model, that's completely fine. But I really want to hit the tree with the white dry brush, at least the tree. Next up, we're going to take our Army Painter dirt splatter and we're going to cover all the mud on the base. It's okay if you get a little bit on the skull and the pumpkins because they're going to be sitting in mud, so you'd expect some mud on them. Plus, we're going to cover it up later. Now for this step, is the reason why we did the dry brush. We're going to take our speed paint dark wood and we're going to hit the tree and that little fence that's kind of there. I guess you want to call it a fence. It's really just some wood planks, but yeah. So hit that with the dark wood. That's going to end up looking fantastic with very minimal effort. Now onto the skulls that are in our dirt area there. We're just going to take some Army Painter's skeleton bone and hit up the 3 skulls that are buried in the mud throughout this model. Now for some more speed paint. We're gonna grab our Grim Black and we're gonna hit the Raven. Don't worry about the beak or the feet. We'll take care of that in another step. We really just wanna get the body and the wings in our Grim Black. It's pumpkin time. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Army Painters D&D Rust Monster, or a Lava Orange for the main War Paints line, and we're going to coat all of our pumpkins, including the Jack-o'-lantern, head that we have affixed to another base on a toothpick with some sticky tack. Time to break out the dry brush again. We're going to take some Vallejo Orange Fire, squirt it in our dry palette, and we're going to dry brush all the pumpkins, including the jack-o'-lantern head. This is just going to give a little bit more orange tint to it to make it not look one singular color. Hopefully you still have a little extra dirt splatter. If not, go ahead and squirt just half a drop more, because we're just going to cover the stems of all of our pumpkins. I think there's 5 pumpkins on the base and then the jack-o'-lantern stem. Now, before we do this step, make sure you put your centaur on the base. I just use some super glue, put them down, let them dry for an hour. We're ready to go. So grab your Wraith Black, which is a D&D Army Paints exclusive color. And you're going to hit up all the fur or skin. I haven't really decided what it is, but that's the tail, all 4 legs, the hips and the hands, and then around the neck of the centaur, as well as the beak and the feet on our crow. Time to bust out the metallics for this next step. We're gonna grab our Vallejo Gun Metal, my favorite silver paint, and we're just gonna hit every metallic. So that is going to be its chest piece that wraps all the way around, its shoulder pads, elbow pads, the little plaque on its hands. I'm not 100% sure what that is. The knee guards on the front legs, as well as the horseshoes on the back and front legs. And then just for a little added step, there's two little screws in the wood fence thing. Haven't really decided what that is yet, that you can hit up as well. Getting a little gory in this next step, you're going to grab some glistening blood army paint effects, or any other type of blood effect paint that you have, or even just a red that looks like blood, and we're going to apply it to the neck of the horse. Moving on to another gruesome feature of this model, we're going to grab some opal skin and we're going to paint the faces of the 3 severed heads on the back of the horse. This opal skin is a very pale paint, so it's going to give that kind of lifeless, drained of blood look to these heads. And no, I did not forget about the 2 skeleton heads on the back. We're going to go back to our skeleton bone paint, and we're going to go ahead and hit those 2 skeletal heads, as well as the spine in the middle of the severed head of the actual centaur. Cape time. So we're going to grab our vampire garments from the D&D set, which is also known as Abomination Gore in the regular Army Painter set. And we're going to paint all the cape or cloak-like bits. Now, this is not the leathers on the arm and chest, but literally just the cape coming off the back and then the kind of skirt-like thing on the front. Then we're going to mix a few colors here. We're going to grab our vampire garments. We're going to take about 3 drops, and then we're going to grab our dirt splatter, and we're just going to do about 1 to 2 drops to kind of get this nice reddish brown color. And we're going to use that for the remaining cloth bits. So this is the sleeves of the centaur's outfit, as well as that kind of scarf-like feature he has around his neck and over some of the armor, as well as on the wrappings of his scythe. Some little detail work here. We're just going to grab wood stain brown from Reaper Paints, and we're just going to hit up all the leather straps on the back of the armor, as well as the side of the chest piece. And also, while we're at it, we're just going to grab one of the heads, doesn't matter which one, and apply some wood stain to his hair. We're going to grab some matte black here, and we're just going to go ahead and do the rim around the base, as well as the hair of another one of the severed heads. Hopefully you have a little bit of orange left over so you don't have to do any new. I just went ahead and grabbed some of my rust monster I had in my wet palette, and I did the final head of hair on the severed head. Now the model's about done at this point, so we're just going to grab some washes and add those to the model. We're going to grab a nice light tone model and cover all of our pumpkins in that. This is kind of an orangish brown, and it's going to just add a little more layer to the pumpkins. Next, we're going to grab brown wash or strong tone, depending on what type you have. And we're just going to cover the base in that, including the skulls. This just adds another layer of brown to the dirt, as well as gives these skulls kind of like an old, they've been around for a while skulls. Kind of yellows them a little more. And lastly, we're grabbing some Citadel Nuln oil, and we're covering the entire centaur with this. The metal, the cape, the faces, the scythe, everything. This is going to just add that darkness where we need it. It's going to make our Wraith Black a little less blue and darken it up. It's going to flow nice into the recesses of that cape to give that little shadowing. And it's going to really, really help that blood look just kind of dark and coagulated on the top, as well as give a little grime to the metal. And we are back. The Headless Horseman, or Headless Centaur, is finished. But before I reveal it, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button to let me know you like the video. Leave a comment to let me know how I'm doing, and subscribe if you're not already, because that's how you'll see more of these videos, and it'll show you when the community vote is up, so you'll be able to vote on miniatures like this to see me paint. So here it is in all of its horror glory. Couple things I did off camera obviously was the pumpkin. Once everything was finished, I went ahead and took the pumpkin off the little stand you saw me painting on, painted the bottom of it real quick, so you know, that way you don't have just like a gray bottom in there. Stuck a little bit of super glue on it, stuck it right in the hand. On Loot Studios, they show the model on the actual head, but I thought holding the pumpkin would be better. Another thing I did do off cam was I made this pumpkin, instead of like smashed pumpkin guts, I went a little more gory with it. And we'll just leave it as that, using Iron Painter's Glistening Blood effect and then some Nuln oil. And if you want to know why this Nuln oil is in this and you don't know, go watch my zombie T-Rex painting video, and you'll understand. But the Nuln oil did fantastic over the metal and over the horse fur, skin, whatever you want to call it. I will say that it does not look as blue as what the camera makes it. Let me see if I turn the light off on this, if you can see. It's still kind of blue. It really doesn't look that blue. So yeah, I'm not sure why the camera light really turns that blue. I mean, the Wraith Black is a blue. See, that's more what it looks like on this cap than what it does on the horse. Maybe it's just the way the light hits it on the horse. But yeah, I love it. I'm glad I did end up doing the mix, differentiate the cape from like the cloth. Originally I wasn't. I was just gonna all do Vampire Conference. Like, you know what, I need to do something a little different there. Our Raven turned out well, but yeah, I think it's a very fantastic model. Again, this is a Loot Studios model, not sponsored by them or anything, but I do subscribe to them. They have great bundles. I use them a lot in my D&D campaigns, especially a lot of their scenery objects, and then other things like monsters and all that. And this, which this guy is not technically a D&D monster, but it would be a great horror one-shot. And plus there is the Dolahan model, which is a Headless Horseman. So you can always just substitute this. I don't see why you can't. But yeah. Oh, and I really like how the heads all turned out. They definitely look super dead. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap this one up, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to our next miniature painting video, so I'll see you then. Peace.